Good morning. It's a beautiful week. We got how to close the deal training on Friday. If everybody wants to join, we are going to close a lot of deals and help you close a lot of deals. Welcome, everybody. It's Monday morning, a little bit early for those on the West Coast, a little bit late for those in New Zealand. But join us. Let's go hit it hard. Our first up is none other than my friend Jesse. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are
How are
you?
you? I'm terrific. How are you?
Good. So my question is, I've always had difficulty is like applying attention and an intention to my blog. And yesterday, I took this uh masterclass about attracting your dream client, and she said to make an avatar, so create a fake, an imaginary relationship with a person who represents your ideal customer or reader, etc. I don't know, do you think that's a good idea?
Well, I do, and I have one nuance to that because I've trained that for years as well. And the nuance that I have to that is that the avatar, if you take into account the ask and attract strategy, you limit your point of entry and limit your scope of who you can talk to if you're manifesting a specific, one avatar. What I do is make sure that that avatar has one quality that allows me to make sure that I'm going to exponentially grow and accelerate, which is an open mind. So sometimes we get too specific with the avatar and forget that if we have that we're limiting the statistical success of that one perfect person. And for me, I'd prefer to have that perfect person and then include that one nuance of an open mind. Because remember, if you just meet people with open minds, even if someone specifically sits within the context of what exactly you're looking for, but they have a closed mind, or they are specifically what you want, but they've already engineered their vision, then you haven't completed the process because there's so many people out there that know somebody that can help you. And you're better off utilizing and leveraging the whole network of everyone, especially now as it's coming to awareness that everybody has like 1,000 people on average that they know. Just make sure you include, you're looking for people with open minds, because people with open minds easily help you. It takes as much energy to engineer a vision for someone with a closed mind as it does 1,000 people with an open mind. And that statistically is hard to beat. So when you create that avatar, don't make it so specific that you forget that the universe is exact. So I'll give you an example. If I was trying to manifest a lot of dough, one of my aunts would come by with a bunch of cookies. I got to be more specific of what I'm asking for and make sure you include that nuance of asking for people that you can ask.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great week, Jeff.
you. Thank
Take care.
you. You too.
Bye-bye. All right. Who is next? Manny, how are you?
Good, good. How are you, David?
Terrific. It's going to be a great week. I'm looking forward to it. What's going on?
Fantastic. I've been, I'm a soccer coach, and I play Sunday mornings with other soccer coaches. And I've been dropping little hints about maybe we should form a soccer clinic in our community, in our town. So it could be a year-round program. So what is the best conversations to have with other parents, other coaches, people in the community to make that sort of inclusive approach? What would you recommend?
Well, for me, I always use the open-ended questions because I allow people to engineer the vision that's aligned with mine and also share their ideas that may improve upon mine. So I'm always asking, hey, what are you doing today for clinics, for training, for skills practice, or whatever the features and capabilities of the clinic as you see them? And so I would always start by asking everybody in the community that question. Hey, what are you doing today? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? And then narrow it down until you can say, hey, could you see any reason we want to put together a clinic ourselves? And they'll say, oh, that's a great idea. Or they'll tell you, hey, I got a great idea. Why don't we put together a clinic? Really? That's a great idea. and then we allow that to propagate itself. So I think open-ended questions specific to what people are doing today is one of the easiest ways to aggregate a collective or a collective consciousness and to generate interest and creativity of exactly what best suits the community.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'll follow up on that and let you know.
Oh, it'll work. Thanks, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right, rolling and rocking. Monday morning, we have Jeff in pursuit. And what is he in pursuit of? Me. What's up?
Yeah, always in pursuit of the happiness, right, in everything we do.
That's right.
I was just hoping you could elaborate on your the 2-minute drill getting picked up by these bigger networks. Like how does that? Can you give some insight on how that works when you get somebody picks up a show and then?
Sure, the variety of different ways, right? You can shop a show, so you can sell it to the networks, and there's multiple people out there who are agents and brokers that pitch shows to networks. And if you have a pilot, it makes it easier. If you have a treatment, it makes it easier. There's just a variety of different ways to do that. For me, I have learned I get the money first. So I work in the context of getting sponsors first, making sure that I have some sort of pilot, especially with digital today. You can start showing and creating, like this set behind me, which I use a variation of this for 2-minute drill. And I just found out, on Friday that we're going to be on Amazon and Comcast as well as Bloomberg. And now I have 2 countries that want to license the show. You need to build a credible and emotionally attaching content that then you can quantify. So even with the elevator pitch, went out, we got the pilot funded first, and then with sponsors, by the way, because any piece of content can be sponsored, because even if it's just one episode, if you have the right people and attachments, you're going to have a following, and somebody can pay for that pilot and get extraordinary distribution. Everything evolves, and as you know, I utilize segmentation, and this is a lesson for everybody, no matter what their pursuits are of their own potential. For me, segmentation was, okay, I'm gonna get 1 sponsor, and then 2, and then 4, and then 8, and things aggregate and accelerate. So, for me, I took every time I'm taking this long-term segmentation, it seems that time itself accelerates the more I let go of emotionally attaching to the outcome. It happens faster than when in the old days I used to say, okay, I need this done by January, right? When I take like 20 segments and into anything, it seems like I'm where I thought I'd be in 20 segments in 5.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so then the sponsors on the shows, they're looking for that attention price delta, since you got something new coming on, you're able to get into that a little earlier versus like a Super Bowl commercial, right? And so it's just
and remember the stage theory. When you own the content, like I own my own IP, when I own the content, then I can allow them to utilize and repurpose and re-engineer. And so they can not only capture what we've done as the pilot, but they can capture everything around what we've done with the pilot. They can modify that. They can amplify that. They can use the amplification that I give them, including their channel partners and distribution as well. And they can perpetuate it so that they can, so it has way more value than a Super Bowl commercial per dollar, obviously. It's not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah, that makes sense, because they're initially getting the initial attention from being a sponsor, but then they can use it for some of their evergreen content, or to turn it into their marketing message, or hey, we're doing this collaboration. So it's got a ton of layers, and I like to call it like a layer cake. So that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
And then attachments, the last thing. So, the more credible your attachments are of producers, directors, other stars. For example, when we started Elevator Pitch, we had the producer from Undercover Boss, we had the director from the Osbournes, we had Sprint Business involved, we had Entrepreneur Magazine involved, we brought in celebrities, Hall of Famers, and Danica Patrick, and just all these different people who also amplified and perpetuated and distributed the content and modified it. It just went on and on and on. And if you could articulate the quantitative value, you can really have the communication that make yourself equal, and then show and appreciate the difference in a quantitative manner.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Happy Monday. Have a great week.
Jeff in pursuit of his potential. Thank you so much. Have a great week, my friend. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. All right. Who is next? Hey, Rena, how are you?
Good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Oh
You
my
look
God.
nice and warm. Is it cold there?
Yeah, I'm in New York. So it's raining today, and I'm super, super excited.
Rain is good chi or good luck. So I always like rain.
Yeah, I'm happy. So I'm so happy, excited, grateful. So this is my natural tendency, sunshine. But then, as you've seen me in the past, I get frustrated easily.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I first of all, obviously, I want to say thank you. Everything you give is so much. It's so great. Friday's show was amazing. Worthiness, I loved it, loved it, loved it. Of course, it speaks to me, and I'm sure everyone really. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. So after talking last time, we talked about letting go, like literally handing out, like you gave that analogy about the branch, which I took to heart, and I said, okay, I'm here. How do I get over there? Like, I'm very, as you know, business minded, but when it comes to my personal life, everything is like emotion. So I'm like, okay, let's take this to heart. What does that mean? So I started visualizing being at the branch, and then that week I'm like, okay, let go, let go. And then it's just such a funny thing, like I literally let go, and then in my mind, obviously, and then all of a sudden I expected to fall, but then something happened. It was so weird. Then I started flying, and then I'm like, oh my God, I can fly. Like that was like such an aha moment. I'm like, I didn't even know I could do that. And going through that process, I understood the analogy of you don't know until you try it. You don't know, obviously we're unlimited power, and all these things that I knew and always we talk about, but this was a mind journey of getting to that. So thank you. Obviously it was helpful, and I understand the lesson hopefully, and now it's obviously taking the action. So some of the things, the last few weeks for me was like, okay, I understand the financial blah blah blah. Let's just throw everything out the window. Now we're starting from scratch. Just do it. Like my mom is very, like my parents are both immigrants. Just do it was like a motto. It's before Nike. Just do it. Just do it. Like, can't even tell you how many times I hear that's in my lifetime. So I'm like, just do it. So I started doing things, and I'm like, just try this, try that, because I always think I want to create something substantial for everything, but you got to start somewhere. So again, an idea a day for me, which is normal, which is great, but now just taking it slow. So it's funny, like God sends you things. A friend I didn't talk to forever reached out to me, and she's like, oh, I'm looking for a job, blah blah blah, which is for me it's normal. People all the time seek advice. I they see me as a resource. Of course I would help. So we start talking, and then I just told her my strategies that I use. How do I use LinkedIn? Have my resources, because just being in the industry for like 20, 15, 20 plus years, the game. For me, everything is the game. I was just so surprised that she didn't know so many things. I'm like, oh, keyword search. Oh, these are top 3 things people are looking at. What are the top 5 things that are in your industry? Like these things to me is like standard, right? And then I thought to myself, wow, there are millions of people out there right now that are looking for jobs. Maybe I could help. Maybe this is something that they need, right? We always want to help, and that's just my type. Anyway, I spoke to her yesterday, and I was kind of a little bit disappointed, I have to say. Like you were talking the other day about mindset, and about having the open closed mindset. And I gave so much of myself, all these learnings that took me for years. What I'm talking about, the ups and downs, the emotion, the financial, like everyone in their lifetime been laid off, had some kind of financial unfortunate. This is unfortunate. This is the game, right? And it's the mindset of I know this and that, and I'm like, oh my God, I so want to help you, I want you to succeed, but I can't do this for you. That's what I was thinking in my mind. Like, when you help someone, you get that high, and you're like, oh my God, I helped someone. It's like it's such a gift, and I'm so grateful I was able to do that. And then of course all these negative back mindset of what's the point of doing this? Like, I don't, I want to have, I wanted to say, I said, okay, maybe I should make a class, something very simple, online, very reasonable.
Let me help you and cut you off, but that's okay. Yeah. So now you're going slipping back and forth to ego-based consciousness, right? We don't do things we don't do things to have some result, right? We're not giving to receive. So when you gave that great advice, you already received what you were supposed to receive, because you have realized the lesson that there's millions of people out there that don't know this. Just because millions of people don't know this doesn't mean that everybody is ready to execute on your situational knowledge and experience. What you have to take great joy in, and this is, key to being a parent, is that you sometimes plant seeds in people under trees that you'll never sit under. You don't know the impact that you've had. There's so many incidences in my life, including my parents. And, I use my example of when I was 30 years old and my dad told me and gave me this jacket and told me money doesn't buy love or happiness. And I took offense to it and I wasn't ready to listen, but he planted a seed that would grow, 6, 8 years later and change my life for the next 15 years. You're planting seeds under trees that you may never sit under, and you need to detach your ego, that just because you know it and just because you teach it and just because you've taken the time to do it doesn't mean they will do it, but you've planted the seed. And in varying degrees, you should be thanking that person for the attention plus intention and coincidences that they provided to you to give you an area, a capability. I always tell people, look for the times when people say to you, oh my God, how do you know this? Oh my God, that's amazing. And for you, it's second nature, third nature, as you've described to everybody. Those are where we know there's opportunity. We know that you have a certain inherent quantum memory that seems so easy. It's inherent in your nature that millions of people now that you can reach because of social media, millions of people that you can reach have this need that you can fill. Not all of them will fill it, right? Not all of them will understand it, but you will be planting seeds. I, been doing this blessed, a long time. So I get people that come back to me and say, oh my God, now I know what you were talking about. Thank you so much. You changed your life. I'm like, what for? Oh, 10 years ago, you told me to do this and I didn't really get it until now. That's what you have to rejoice in and stay the course, understand and be aware of what you realized and continue to pursue your potential within the context of that.
Oh, that's great advice, and thank you. And so now what? Okay, so now I'm in the crossroads again. I was thinking to start small, not go all in to the multi-million billion-dollar idea, which I always jump through the steps, and eventually we'll get there. Because I'm like, okay, so maybe make a class, simple, easy, schmeezy, top strategies, and just give a reasonable price so people could afford it, like $200 just to put skin in the game.
I would give it for free.
Okay.
First. Learn your own business and then build up and have the 120 rule. So give it for free, learn. If those people see value in it, they'll tell other people, then charge, a minimal amount. If those people love it, keep on growing and segmenting it out. 2 people will get 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. But, to get the first 5 people at 200 was not going to help you. To get the first 5 people for free, to learn from them, and then get 10 people at 200 and then 20 people at 400 and 80 people and so on and so on.
So let me ask you another question. What if this is not my everything? Like everyone else, I'm trying to find my true potential, and I don't know if I want to do this for the rest
This shouldn't be your everything. This shouldn't be your everything. So your everything is an aggregate each day of taking inventory of your own values, your personal values, your non-negotiables, which includes your health and your family and all types of other weighted balances that you have specific to each day. Not being afraid of being a hypocrite, not being afraid to learn lessons, not being afraid to make mistakes, not being afraid to accelerate and grow, not being afraid to say that you don't know what you don't know. And then also your experiential values, an aggregate of those, of understanding, what do I want to experience today? This is my journey. I get a bank card that's filled in the morning. I'm not guaranteed I get one tomorrow. Your giving values of what you want to do today to provide value and service and solutions for others. And then most importantly, what are your receiving values for the day? What do you want to get out of this day so it can come through you with appreciation for others? So this is not your everything. Your everything is the aggregate of the inventory of your values that you take every day, specifically growing, changing, and learning.
Okay. I love that. I'll get back to you on that next week. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Great questions. I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone's blessed to learn that as well. So thank you. Have a great week.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Thank you. Awesome. She's amazing. All right. Who is next? Christina. Hello. Unmute
Hi,
yourself.
yes.
Hi.
Good morning or
Good
afternoon,
morning.
wherever y'all are.
Welcome.
Thank you. So, in the spirit of really not knowing what I don't know, I wanted to ask you, what would be a really great question to ask from an early entrepreneur? A question that you would want us to know, or an early entrepreneur can ask.
You know, one of my favorite questions that I get asked on live that I would want to ask in the context of radical humility, which it seems as if you're on the journey of not knowing what you don't know, which is a wonderful place to be. I wish I would have been there earlier in my life, is when you ask people, what's the best lesson you learned today or last week or this month? And so I would seek the light, the love, and the lessons from everyone to understand that. I think it's the key to being more interested than interesting. If I could get the golden nugget from everyone, and it could be in the context of a vertical. So like I was really looking to increase my efficiency and productivity. So I went a whole month and asked every single person that I met, hey, what's your favorite app? Now, I know that sounds silly, but think about the aggregate effect of doing that with the amount of people in person, on the phone, via email and social media that I'm in contact with, and statistically asking, what's your favorite app? And I found things that changed my life, including Rev. So my favorite app is Rev, R-E-V. And what Rev does is it transcribes everything, which has led to writing books for me, writing blogs for me. I'm launching a search engine, the Dave Meltzer search engine, because from Rev, both AI and live Rev, I've been able to transcribe every video I've ever done so that everybody in my private group, who's going to be my pilot group, you guys can just type in, be more interested than interesting in every video that I've done on that topic, or letting go, or planting seeds, under trees that I can't, will never sit under, whatever it is. But none of that would have happened if I didn't spend a month asking everybody in person, on the phone, email, and social media, what's your favorite app? So you can ask as an entrepreneur, hey, what's your biggest lesson you've learned today or this week or this month or in life, whatever. I like to narrow the time frame, because if you ask someone, what's your best piece of advice for life, it paralyzes people.
Right.
If you narrow it to, hey, what'd you learn yesterday? Some people will it'll come to them something that's relative to a life lesson that's significant. And that lesson is extraordinary. And then you're aggregating all the nuggets from everyone else, accelerating who you are. And if you can codify those, respecting the fact that, life's about lessons, the lessons we learn will keep on coming until, we learn them. They result in pain if we haven't learned them. But my favorite lesson about lessons is we're going to forget every single lesson that we ever learn. So I always keep a repository of lessons. I try to indicate it with a note of a story. So the way that minds work, if we notate a lesson with a story, we're more apt to remember it or be able to access it. And remember about lessons, everybody, that you may forget every lesson you've ever learned, including I do. I forget gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, which is remarkable to me since I'm talking about it all day long, but I still forget it sometimes. But the cool thing is I have the power, and so do you, to access every single lesson that we've ever learned, and even ones we haven't learned yet. You have that power. We sit between limitlessness and infinity, and we have the ability to access all those lessons. So that's what I would do.
Thank you. That's brilliant. So appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you, Christina. Welcome. Thanks for coming on. Awesome. Really good questions, everyone. Bring it on. Here we go. Keep it rolling. Maximilian,
Hey.
What's going on?
What's up, David? Great to see you. Good morning. How's it going?
Good morning.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. I just had a couple of quick questions. The first was, so I just finished a road trip down to Miami from New York. Was stopping at a bunch of different high-end toy stores, bike shops, scooter shops, selling a couple of high-end consumer goods into those space for the holiday. Just wanted to quickly ask you if you could sort of hit me with your best pieces of closing advice. I'd love to jot them down as I try to get some awesome deals in the works for the holidays, and I mean, I'm sure there are plenty coming. But just wanted to hear your 2 cents on closing advice there.
Yeah.
And then second quick question was, I'm 30 years old. I'm starting this new chapter in Miami. I'm coming up on 2 weeks of being in Miami now. I'm focused on my consulting work. I'm focused on my public speaking work, and I'm focused on trying to just meet a bunch of new people. I was just curious, kind of, for any of those 3 arenas, to put yourself in my shoes, 30-year-old starting a new chapter in Florida, in Miami, what's sort of top of mind for you to maximize that new life chapter?
Absolutely. So let's start with the first closing advice, since it's related to training on Friday, which all of you are always invited to come or watch the replays on Spotify or any of the platforms. But my closing advice is value. And, in order to statistically succeed in closing people, you have to have an interesting relationship with no. You can go watch videos on the 3 no rule, the 25 no rule. But the real key to closing is understanding value, because you can close a high statistical success when you can say, I am going to give you $100. You're going to give me 20 back. Can you see any reason you wouldn't want to move forward? Now, 99.9% of the people, if I told you I will mail you $100, when you receive it, mail me $20 back, 99.9% that feel I'm credible will say yes to that deal. If anyone thinks I'm not credible, then they might worry, okay, where's the catch? Where's the scam? Whatever. But I go ahead and start my day by visualizing in my meditation, my room full of $100 bills, handing them out to everybody and asking for 20 back to feel the energy. I'm programming my quantum being with an energy of quantitative value. So I carry energy. When I walk into the room, I want people to know that I'm giving more value than I'm receiving. When I tell you that this is guaranteed, when I tell you whatever the value it is, I've already not only carried the energy that it, but I've also practiced articulating and quantifying that value by 3 things: reasons of why it's worth 100 and only giving 20, the impact it has by giving you $100 of value and only asking for 20, and the capabilities, skills, knowledge, and desire included within the context of that 120 rule, that 120 value. So if you start shifting your attention and intention to quantifying the value so that you feel confident in articulating whatever percentage it is. For me, I use 120 rule, but even if it's 2 to 1 rule, right? Even if it's $1 to $1.25 rule, whatever you say,
Yeah.
if you can do that, you should be able, with confidence, not just say it, but confidently say it, practice, etc. Can you see any reason you won't want to move forward? That's the close. And if you feel like there's any reason they won't want to move forward, they're not going to move forward. If you focus in on why they don't want to move forward, you're going to get that rejection. I always say this will be effortless and resistant free. All these different things I program in myself in all the different, and there's no difference between when I used to sell, as a kid, something for $10 as I do for 10 million, or, been $2.5 billion deals. I'm working on one right now with a professional team that's a multi-billion-dollar deal, but I'm carrying the same energy as I was confident as a kid with a $10 bill, because I've been practicing the 120 rule for so long. So it's being able to live within the context of the pragmatic articulation of quantified value, as well as the energetic side of believing what you're saying. Beyond, and the key question that you want to write down is, can you see any reason that you don't want to move forward? The second question is really easy. There's 4 ways to build your community: in person, on the phone, via email, and media, radio, print, TV, and social media. And it's basically the same as branding yourself, is to find your frequency by knowing, who you are, and not, working within the feeding chain, the variance feeding chain that I created. When you meet new people that you attract, ask yourself, is this person in a variance feeding me in some way? In a variance, are they not feeding me? Or worse, is this a person in variance that's bleeding me? And then make sure that you're building a foundational network based off of identifying people who feed you, people that don't feed you, and people that bleed you. Now, the interesting thing in business to me is, I don't do business with dicks. And, sometimes in business, if there's someone that consistently fits within that bleeding side of you, that doesn't mean you have to necessarily stay all the way away from them. You actually can utilize someone who's consistent in any three of those areas, because if they're consistent, you can maximize the opportunity of using them to figure out, okay, this person, here's the circle of network. When he's referring someone, or if they know this person or done business with this person, you start getting a context of protecting yourself by not allowing more people to come around you. Just remember, if people are doing certain things behind other people's back to you, they're doing that to you behind other people's back. It's just an energy and a frequency. But you have to, identify the four contexts, be you, utilize the variance feeding chain, and build a network of people, one person at a time, and keep surrounding yourself with the right people and the right ideas.
Awesome. So believe in you, bleed you, feed you. Those three. Right.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
there's variance within each context of those. So, some people bleed you a little, some people, and you might just let them fall away. Some people, they'll cut your jugular and stab your back. You want to fire those people from your life.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome, man. Thanks so much. Great seeing you. Really enjoying it so far.
Good luck, Max. Thank you. Take care. All right. Here's my man, Lou.
Hey, good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Lakers.
Way early over there. I'm excited about your schedule. I'll get to that in a second. But 4 weeks ago, I reached out for you guys in this forum here, and I said everything was slowing around me. Money coming in from a big corporation. I'm working on a pilot with. I was fighting for. Consulting work and training seemed to have blipped a little and then was slowing down, and cash flow, I just saw this sort of dip, and I didn't know where cash flow was going to continue to come from. And your advice at that time was sort of let it go back to what you do, right? What are you good at, and offer that. In general terms is kind of what you said, and so I did that. I got off the phone and I reached out for one of my clients, and I knew they were trying to do a turnaround, and I offered to do, hey, send me what you want. You want me to help you out with just crunching their sales stats for the past 10 years, SKUs all the way down, different customers. It's kind of what I do. I like to get in there and work through it. As I'm working through it and I'm letting go, those seeds that have been planted, I said I had a long pipeline. It's an enterprise play. That wasn't coming to the surface. None of the training was. All of a sudden, the money flowed from the big company. I got through to one of the coveted players in the industry that I had been trying to get to. Not only that, they gave me about 15, 20 minutes on the phone, and we have another meeting scheduled for a small group of those executives this week. My training schedule started to fill up again, and someone reached out for me. I reached out. How this stuff comes about, sometimes we don't really know, but I have a startup executive, experienced startup executive, offering to help me, and actually hands-on helping with some stuff. And I just want to thank you for that, sort of that reminder of stay within yourself, because I was really starting to get a little panicky. Cash is one of those things that can really knock you off the game.
The minute you start focusing on what you don't have, you're going to get more of what you don't have. I just wanted you to shift your perspective on what you do have, and then you got more of what you do have. And you said, we don't know where things come from, whatever. You do. Let me tell everybody we do, because this is a lesson for everyone. What Lou paid attention to and gave his intention to created the coincidences that he wanted. When you pay attention and give intention to what you do have, you get more of what you do have. So when we focus in on our strength, we get more strength. When we focus in on our weakness, our resistance, our voids, our shortages, our obstacles, we're going to get more obstacles, voids, shortages, and resistance. And that's what you were doing. And there is no accident. There's only coincidence. There's a mathematical equation to creating the coincidence. And it's exactly what Luke described. So I want everyone to take note of that. Apologize for interrupting there, buddy, but congratulations. That's awesome.
No, thank you. And sometimes you just need that nudge, that reminder, or any of these things, but I felt in myself this time that I was getting outside and I was feeling panicky, and I knew that I needed to do something. You were there, and it happened to coincide, which isn't a coincidence, as we know. So thank you very much.
There's no difference between a nudge and a nudge. So,
well, you had to nudge the nudge.
exactly.
So I understand that.
Exactly.
The question around so those kind of things change your life, and you say, oh, this changed my life, and I don't have a material way of showing something like that. But what another piece that you had given me, and now that I'm far enough along that it's physically changed my life, is this Gag-a-Maggot, getting up early, spending time meditating every day. I'm at day 150 on that, and at the gym. And I give myself at least an hour every day. And when that alarm goes off at 5 something in the morning, which 10 o'clock was civilized, I go, first 10 minutes suck. And I never hit the snooze. I put my feet on the floor and I get myself out of bed. And that's because of this simple thing. The first 10 minutes are going to suck. So you physically have had an impact on my life as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Keep up the good work. I'm here if you need me, and for everyone else, I love these stories. Thank you. Have a great week. You're gonna kill it.
Thanks, guys.
You're on the path of pursuit. Perfect. Thank you. How awesome is that? All right, my day's made, Colin. How can you beat that? That's awesome.
How's it going?
What's up, brother?
So I'm working on a bit of a side project. I'm trying to get back into motorsport. I did a couple of years of it, driving back in the good times before the economy collapsed and life took over. So I'm trying to get back into it. And to do it, I need to, like as you are well aware, motorsport is very expensive. So I need to find some, I don't like to use the word sponsors. I like to use the word partners. So the trouble I'm having is trying to align my values with companies to like create a match, to find out what company should I approach who would reflect the kind of person I am. So we would kind of align essentially that if we're going to work together on doing some promotional stuff for advertising or whatever sponsor activities, that I'm not out there representing like a high-end luxurious brand, because I know that's not who I am. I mean, I don't even shave. So it's something I'm kind of struggling with, how to identify that. So maybe you have some advice.
Yeah, sure. So number one, don't assume that a high-end luxury brand doesn't want somebody that doesn't comb their hair or shave and wears a hoodie, because there are some. What you really want to do is look at your capabilities. One of those capabilities is your image, right? And you're very clear on what that image is. And so what we want to do is find where your image, your distribution, your channel partners, your talent skills, your capabilities, whether it's appearances or you're articulate. One of the values is, having your accent. With a lot of companies want to utilize that accent as well, because it's very unique in motorsports that you don't sound like your typical, motorsport person unless it's Formula. So, a high-end brand who may be interested in the audience in the motorsports industry, that can't afford a Formula guy, now can have a Formula guy that sounds like a Formula guy, but, dresses and acts like a millennial. There's all types of different things. So what I want you to do is to take inventory of that, right? Your capabilities. Really understand your capabilities, and then be more interested than interesting. Ask people, but there's tons of companies out there that you'll see that your capabilities, your skills, your knowledge of who and what, and your desire are aligned or supplementary or synergistic to so many different companies. There's almost too many to even do. But when you start asking people and you're clearly defining, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, here's the amplification, modification, the distribution and perpetuation of what I can do for you, and here's the value of it. Can you see any reason that you wouldn't want to start with a soft branding opportunity or endorsement or appearance, or here's some content that I did for this company. You can see how it's synergistic and supplementary to what I can do for you. All types of different ways to align those capabilities with those companies and take advantage of huge opportunities that exist. And just like Lou, you're going to focus in on what you do, not what is resistance void. So I don't want to hear any, luxury brands won't want a guy that looks like me. No, luxury brands do want a guy that looks like you. You want to find which ones do.
All right. Cool.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Colin. Say again?
you very much. Sorry.
All right.
Again.
Have a great week. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, Justin. I got a quick finger there. All righty. All right. Here's my girl, Cheryl. What's up, Bonnie?
Good morning.
Looks like Southern California behind you. It looks like a beautiful day.
It is. It's funny because it's like 50 degrees out right now, which normally I'd be bundled, but hormones got me like I'm in California sun or something, like burning up. So interesting thing happened this week after we talked about my file stuff. I let it go. And I was like, okay, I'll find what I need to when I need to find it. Not going to worry about it anymore. I ended up finding the 3 files that I was most concerned about. They're not complete, but they're far enough in the process that it'll take a couple tweaks if I need to finish them. So there's like 90 hours of work combined for those 3. So I was happy about that. It's kind of funny. I guess funny, like, I don't know, funny, ironic funny, coincidental funny, is I am finding myself, I started eBay again, I told you, after a lull, because it's really not my favorite thing to do. So I used your garbage example as like taking out the trash. Like, this allows me to do the other stuff that I really want to do because it keeps money coming in, because the other stuff I'm doing is taking more time to build than I guess I expected. But it's funny because I find myself making mental notes and questions to ask you, and then hearing your voice going, you already know the answer to that, and I get the answer. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because it's kind of, a lot of the stuff was kind of on the same spectrum of questions. Like I've either already asked a question similar, or the answer is just the same because it's in the same realm, genre, I don't know what to call it, but I'm literally hearing your voice going, you know the answer to this, it's blah, 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 which is how I came up with the trash answer. Because I was really struggling getting back on eBay because I really don't enjoy it, like, at all. So my question to you, I guess, is, because I'm answering them on my own, is how, when you were in that first, like, kind of getting back on your feet space, and you talked about flipping stuff on eBay, how did you keep the momentum going? Was it just kind of repeating to yourself that you needed to find the light in those things? Because I definitely have noticed like a roller coaster of, I'll do really well for a while, and then I'm like, I find any reason to not do whatever it is and go do other things.
Yeah.
But I'm also juggling a lot. So
inspiration. Yeah. So inspiration to me is the understanding of what I'm connected to and through and from. And so I'm connected from the greatest source of light, love, and lessons. I'm connected through myself with appreciation, forgiveness, and accountability. And I'm connected to everything. And when I understand what I'm connected to, through, and from, then I'm capable of realizing when there's a disturbance to all of that flow. Because when there's a disturbance, I'm not going to have as much efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success in maximizing infinity, maximizing abundance, maximizing the light, the love, and the lessons, not only from and through, but to me as well. So what I do is, when I feel that interference, corrosion, when I feel that momentum flipping, I understand time is my challenge, meaning how quickly can I get back into the flow? How quickly can I get back to center? How quickly can I take advantage of the to, through, and from? How quickly can I maximize the opportunity? And to do so requires me to utilize the ferocious Buddha, meaning 1, identify what's causing the interference, what ego-based consciousness, primary or secondary fear is causing the interference or corrosion. 2, to stop, right? Which is counterintuitive because we either want to resist, run away, or run to it. Just stop, then drop and breathe, get to that center, into the flow, and then roll in the right trajectory, which is, all right, let's get back and be efficient, effective, and statistically successful on eBay. So your homework is to understand the flow of to, from, and through, And when you do that, let's identify what's causing the interference, corrosion, void shortages, and obstacles of your momentum, and let's stop, drop, and roll. And you will find that the time between when you're in the flow and outside of the flow will diminish greatly, which will increase your efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success, which will show itself in this pragmatic form quantitatively in more money.
Okay, yeah, I think for me, the thing that I've identified is like I hate sitting still, which sounds funny, and it's so tedious because even with my Etsy stuff, excuse me, I get so excited and I make the things and I sew the things and I'm designing and I'm doing all this and the creating, and then I hang it up and it sits there because like the whole listing process for me is just so monotonous, I guess.
List while you walk. List while you're watching TV. List while you're, doing all. I have so many people that, you may not be as efficient at it, but if it's more fun, it'll get done, right? If it's more fun, just take your phone and list the stuff while you're walking. If you have to stop for a second, then keep walking, or watch something else while you're doing it, or, stretch while you're doing it, put your computer on the floor and, stretch, and just figure out some way to not only do what, doesn't inspire you, but more importantly, get practicing and build the muscle of, multitasking, which is, remember, I can only do one thing at one time, but the better I get at switching back and forth, the more it appears as if I'm doing two things at once, three things at once, four things at once. And
yeah, as a mom with little ones, I know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The multitasking.
You got it. So that's what I want you to practice.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I was just thinking this goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of summer when I was struggling about adapt and overlap. And that's another thing I'm kind of repeating, but I hadn't thought to do it with that specifically just because I sit down, I'm taking pictures, I'm researching, and it's like, I don't know. It's just not a fun process for me, but I can figure out a way to make it more fun, I guess.
That's awesome.
I'll work on that.
You will work
thank
on
you
it.
so much.
I'm available. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Enjoy. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Remember, Friday's training's on closing the deal. Invite your family, friends, associates. If you miss it, it's on Spotify today. The manifestation training's available. Exercises, guides, everything's posted up on a private Facebook group. Work within the context of each other to help each other, network each other. We want to accelerate, grow, and expand. Oh, Lori wants to come on before I leave. All right. Hi. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Remember, Friday's training's on closing the deal. Family, friends, associates. If you miss it, it's on fine.
That's what's happening. Sorry. I have you on Facebook too. Learning this.
Perfect. That's good.
Thank you so much. So I have tips on how to get my vision out of my head and be able to just effectively and quickly communicate it. Because I get so excited that there's so many things I want to do that, I can't do everything to start with. Like start with one, and then I can see if the brand goes that way or it doesn't. But it's just I get
my brain works that way too. So I actually started to write things down or type them out, print them out, and just start with each concepts on a separate page. And I'll pick my page and articulate it with an outline. And my outline will always involve, either, the 5 steps of credibility, emotional attachment, a section for quantifying the reasons, quantifying the impact, explaining and quantifying the capabilities, skills, knowledge, and desire, and how they'd be aligned and synergistic, supporting it all with features and benefits. And I just kind of list it out on a piece of paper with its own sections. And so I'll do that. Or if the context of what I'm trying to talk about involves lessons and stories, then I'll simply just write out the lessons and put a note of the story that I want to tell, because most people emotionally incredibly align with lessons and stories. So if I'm trying to build credibility and emotional attachment, here's the lesson that I'm going to teach you, and here's the story that explains it so that it's organic and authentic to the frequency that I have. And so when I have all those components written out and sectioned off in writing, I keep that in front of me when I know that I got a million other ideas, because you will lose credibility and attention and intention and attachment if you shift, and I get so many entrepreneurs that do this. They just barf their ideas all over me. And I was like, I don't know what to do. You have not asked for anything. All you've done is barfed your ideas on me. If you are specific, look, I have this opportunity. Here's what it is. This is why I'm credible. Here's the emotional attachment. Quantitatively, here's the reasons that I'm thinking about doing it. Here's quantitatively an impact. Here's the capabilities I have that are synergistic or supplementary to this or that. And here's the features and benefits that support what I'm telling you. Can you see any reason with this? Could you help me, not help me, whatever it would be? Do you know anyone that could help me? So I would just stay much more organized. So don't allow your brain to go where it wants to go, and stay focused with writing it down and planning it out.
So that being said, may I ask one question then?
$1 to Justin.
I mean, I don't know how
many questions always are $1 to Justin. You can Venmo him.
Okay, I shall. So here's the thing, is that just I'll see, this is part of the process. This is for me to try and be concise. So my brand that I'm trying to build is called Hussy Milady. 2 old words that are, right, a lot of people, which is very interesting. I haven't paid for market research, but I just walk around San Francisco and ask people. I wear my hat, I wear Hussy, I wear, you know, and I ask people, and a lot of people don't know the meanings of each word. So what I'm trying to do is, it's kind of like, is taking 2 old words, creating new meaning for them. And that's where it's like, it's embracing sexuality as women, but it's like, it's hussy sass and the lady class. Like, it's, I don't know, it's cheesy, but it's not. So anyway, yeah, I need to stop talking now.
No, so just real quick on this, to everyone, a brand is built because it's built because it carries a frequency. And so you have started to explore the different segments that understand in varying degrees those words together. And you're going to create a learning curve, but it has a frequency. So there's going to be, out of the 4.4 billion people and growing that you can reach, for example, in social media, there's going to be a section of those people that are immediately going to resonate with Hussy for variant reasons. And then there's going to be a certain curious group of people that are going to want to learn historically where that comes from and why it resonates with them. So you need to take a deep breath and know that you're carrying a frequency, and remind yourself this: if the pimple popper lady can have more subscribers than the entire Pro Football Hall of Fame, Hussy could have more people interested than Nike. Just stick to it, grow your audience. There'll be segments and segments of people that understand in varying degrees or think they understand what you're trying to convey, but it doesn't matter. You are carrying a frequency and people will be attracted to it. And it's your job to build an audience and monetize it. It's that simple. So keep yourself clear.
That is so helpful. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. I like the pinky.
Hang loose.
Oh, hang loose. Cool. All right. Thanks, Larry.
I'm a little groovy back. So.
All right. Cool.
Dave, thank you so much.
You're a wonderful Hussy, my lady.
Why, thank you, sir.
All right. Yeah. We got a dear friend. Cheers. We got my dear friend next. I see her there. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, David. Good morning.
Good morning.
One quick question for you today. What was the one lesson that stands out for you that you learned from this past week?
From the past week, there's a lot of great lessons. For me, it was, and it's an interesting one. I had a lot of big deals. And for me, there's a balance of who we communicate at what point the deals, because I made the mistake on one of my deals of telling my wife that when I close this, I'm going to buy you this. Yeah, and so I this is so silly. It wasn't a huge deal, but it's vinyl flooring, right? That was the topic, because I don't want to. I like where I live. I don't want to. I like the marble. I joked with her. I'm like, someday someone's going to buy my house and pull up the luxury vinyl and say, why'd they hide these marble floors? The way that we do with wood floors today, right? It's going to happen. So anyway, I'm waiting for the deal to close, and I make this mistake, and I realized that I created more resistance, more energy and emotional distraught that I should have just bought the goddamn flooring and my deal would have closed. And in fact, the minute I told her, you know what, I'm stupid, I apologize, that money doesn't come in buckets, that they're not contingent on one or the other. Either you want this and I want to help you get it, or I don't. It has nothing to do with some arbitrary thing. And all I'm doing is killing my business over a small home improvement. And so the minute, of course, I released that, everything started to flow in immediately. And so the lesson I learned is money doesn't come in buckets. Stop negotiating with yourself and don't add extra emotional, luggage to something. Tell people either yes or no. Don't make it contingent, because then they're a party to something and it creates all kinds of interference. So, and I've done that my whole life. So hopefully I'll learn that lesson and create more efficiencies with what I'm doing.
Perfect. That's great. That's a good lesson.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Great question, by the way. Thank you. All right. Who is next? Sorry for trying to get out. I was trying to see if somebody here. Brad. Does Brad want to come in, or are we ready to go? Justin, does Brad want to come in, or he's not available? Oh, he's not connected. Okay. Once again, everyone, Friday's training is available. Last Friday's training on manifestations available, featured on Spotify. Entrepreneur Tuesdays Playbook. If you haven't subscribed, it's a good place. The Facebook group network, and this Friday's training is on closing the deal. And if you need me, I'm at david@dmeltzer.com. It's right there below. I love you all. This is a great, great group. I am going to November 1st start a sales-specific private training. You can belong to both or upgrade into the sales group. You just let me know if you want to stick specifically to just sales, or stay in this awesome eclectic group, or do both. Just let me know. I'll work with you guys. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Justin, for waking up early. Especially Justin. I know you're watching that Laker game last night. All right, everybody. Be kind to your future self. Do good deeds. Reach out if you need me. Thank you so much. Take care.